Final checks on set. Camera rolling. Sound, speed, and action. Dumelang bakhayo to our fellow lovers and friends of the 5-minute call. Onto your screens once again. Thank you so very much for giving us your eyes, your ears, for lending us your attention. I truly am grateful, which is exactly why I'm shooting from my humble abode this time around, so that I could give this message of gratitude and thanks. I've said it before, Mikasa, Sukasa, my home, your home. This is our collective space and community to build so that we can nurture this world of entertainment that we love and that we want to protect and we want to continue growing. So to all our subscribers and supporters, thank you. To everyone who's sharing their comments, critiques, to people that DM me and people that are actively involved in this world of 5-minute call. I am super, super grateful. Now, initially we decided to do a get to know me episode part 1 and part 2, but we're like, we might as well round up this season with a part 3. So without further ado, firstly, make sure that you like, share, subscribe, that your friends, cousins, cats, chickens, fish know that this is the home of all things entertainment. We talk, we discuss, we share, we laugh, we cry, we do what we gotta do, but we give you part 3 of Get to Know Me.
Man, stop playing with me, what?
I'ma need you to vacate the premises. You really reaching to maintain your relevance. The main reason why I don't have any friends in this is when I'm in the room, I'm addressing the elephants. And they paying for plays and traffic. They better off playing in traffic. I peep game for a while, I ain't quick to judge, but I can see him breaking character, the jig is up.
How do I remain optimistic? Standing in God and remaining steadfast and trusting the process. I know it's easier said than done, and some of us really tend to romanticize this idea of struggle and also be very ableist, like, you can do it, trust the process. Trust the process, Joang. I cannot tell a diabo roto. Like, I don't have, I can. So the optimism really comes in faith. Like, and God has profound ways this year alone. This show that is 5-minute call is an act of faith. It's an act of stepping in with faith and in faith that I'm called to do this. And what will come of it is rooted in God's promises. The yes and the amen is the 5-minute call that you're streaming and watching right now. And that's where the optimism comes from. But it's also that I've worked so many years, and you know, Charlie Adler, and I'm gonna have that conversation about voice acting, because it's a little bit of a flex. But I had the pleasure of being trained by legendary Charlie Adler. And if you don't know him, Google him. Google him, I beg. And he said, you need to trust that you're standing on solid ground. And no matter what nerves, no matter what rejection I may experience, no matter what may come my way, I'm always trusting that I'm standing on solid ground through what I do, always. And look, like, the reality is it's not always flowery. I know we tend to say we stand in faith and we remain trusting God in the process, but sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's really tough, and it looks like all the doors are closing and the walls are caving in. And that's when it's beautiful, and I'm grateful to have the support system that I have. My friends, my family, mentors, my colleagues, and industry. I call them veterans, you know, and some of them don't really like being approached as such, but I'm not shy to walk up to someone like Umamtati Mushesh and say, Ma, this is where I am. I'm feeling a little bit discouraged about being an actress. This is what I'm feeling. And they've all gone through the same journey. Like, it may not be within the same context, the same circumstances, but they know what it's like to feel like, am I still about it? I want to say, can I still get it? Y'all know what I mean, right? Can I still? Y'all know what I mean. But I can seek the ones that walked this road before me and say, this is where I am, and I'd really like some advice. And that's, I suppose, what other people are doing with me, like young people going, hey, Candice, we know you're here, you're doing this. How do you navigate the industry feeling ABCD? How do you work your way around rejection and many other things? So support, trust in the process. And I keep working. Even when it's difficult, I keep working. Even when there's no screens on. Can I tell you one thing about the 5-minute call? I don't want to say I spoke it into existence. I definitely did. But I used to do my opening link in the shower a year ago. A year ago, I'd be like, ooh, but sorry, there's a fly. But a year ago, I would talk to myself in the shower, and I still do. There's shows that I host in my head, in the shower, that don't exist yet. And I say, hey guys, welcome to this. You're checking out ABCD, whatever. Because I'm always keen on practicing as well. So there's also that. So keep working while I'm waiting. Keep worshiping while I'm waiting. Yeah. Have I ever experienced the earth-shattering, heartbreaking realities of maybe this is not meant for me? A couple of times. The first time that I knew for sure, or the first time, I can't say I knew for sure because I would have been wrong. If I said I wasn't great at what I was doing, I was actually wrong because I am here as a living testimony of that. But I recall the moment when I had the deregistration form at Wits. I had the pink form in my hand and I was like, I don't think I'm meant for this. I was in third year, so I've done 2.5 years of my degree, but I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was going through a really tough time, a bit of an identity crisis, very insecure, heartbroken, with no sense of self, no true value and sense of self. And it was so difficult for me to try and navigate all. It was a really tough time, very depressive time. I'm so glad that I came out of it when and how I did, with sheer prayer and therapy and really taking care of my mental health in the moment that I needed to. But I was quartered to completely surrendering to failure, feeling like I didn't have it. I was auditioning for shows, nothing was happening. I was pursuing this degree. I stopped submitting my assignments. I actually stopped showing up for myself. And I just was like, what's the point of it all? So I'd reached that point, and then therapy kind of helped me find my way back to really being honest with myself and staring myself very deep into the eyes and being very, very true and honest with myself about where I was, how I felt, and what I could do to do myself and my career and just my personal well-being better service. But I felt that when I'd left Generations Legacy, I felt very discouraged. It had nothing to do with them as a show and everything to do with me, of again not understanding where I was and what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. I got to a point where I didn't know what I was doing. And then I had to audition for Jiva in that uncertainty, in the fullness of that uncertainty and the own level of inadequacy and insecurity. I had to put them in our back pocket and say, Lala, when I just show up, audition, what's meant for you will find you. God will go ahead of you, He will order your steps, find the courage to walk in them. And I danced in those steps. And yeah, I've definitely experienced being on the other side of rejection, being on the other side of insecurity. We all have, and we all will. If you're not there yet, it's likely to happen, sorry. But then go back to the question I answered about optimism. That will help you feel a little more confident about how you can move forward. Oh, what would I change about the entertainment industry? First and foremost, on a macro level, I would change constitutionally how much support we lack. If I look at the year 2020, theaters were closing down. Artists in the midst of a global pandemic had nowhere to run to. There's no UIF. We don't have UIF as artists. We don't even have a union as artists. We don't have spaces that serve to protect us, or not enough, you know. I'm grateful for the various communities and groups that have come together, like South African Guild of Actors. Shout outs to everything that you're doing to ensure that we're protected as artists. But about the entertainment industry, look, there's things I change about music. I think I changed about music from protecting the integrity and the talent of the artist. Maybe that's across the board. Dancers, protecting the integrity of a dancer. Because dancers are in actual fact athletes and need to be respected as such. Really understanding the value of what we are here to do. Like, we're so valuable. If you look at the economy, artists are bringing in so much and doing so much. But how we get to navigate and be protected doesn't speak the same language of how valuable we are. So I would, again, I'd start on a macro level, absolutely start there. I would start with, and I'll go into this a lot deeper in one of the episodes, the Performance Protection Amendment Bill and protecting the image of the artist and being compensated so that we have repeat fees, residuals, and royalties. I would create regulations. You know, there's no regulations really. Kyo mutu litamupatala 700, mutomung tampatala 15,000, and it's like, what does value look like? How does compensation look like? And where do we set the bar? So that's also important. The list is long. The list is very long. I would change how background artists are treated. I would change how Black stories are represented. We're being a lot more bold and I'm so excited, but I just feel like we're more than trauma. We are more than our background, we're more than our history, and we have so many stories to offer. The everyday, he, she, they, guys, we are a wealth of entertainment, and we really need to tap into that. It's like the parts at the end of the rainbow. I think we're on the rainbow now. We're on the rainbow. We're exploring the 7 colors of the rainbow, but I think it's gonna be really exciting when we start diving into the pot of gold. What would I change about the industry on a smaller scale? I think I'm doing it. I think it's the first time I've actually kind of processed the fact that the changes that I wish to make on a smaller scale level, I'm doing it. I'm having the conversations. I'm opening up the doors. I'm saying no more. And that already creates the change because I get to redirect the narrative. In the small but bold steps that I'm making, I have the courage to change the climate of how we're treated in the industry, on how we engage with each other, on a minor level. I think also, and this is a very near and dear thing that I would change, and it's how audiences perceive our work. I've seen an ongoing criticism that is almost unfair towards the work that we do because we're always being pitted against and compared to Eurocentric ideals and standards of storytelling. South Africa is not Hollywood. And that's that on that TTOT. We're not Hollywood, we're not Nollywood, we're not Bollywood. We have our own way of storytelling. And I love the fact that we're not necessarily aspiring to those forms, but I'm seeing this continuous thing about our audiences where we automatically want to find the worst in the work. I saw it with Jaiva. I'm gonna say it like, I'll say it as I mean it, you know? I saw it with Jaiva where it was a genuine offering of work. And it was colorful and it was fun, but people were constantly poking holes in the body of work. And what I also find quite strange is that there's certain things that many people are willing to forgive in international offerings and international shows, series and soapies, telenovelas, your trending what on whatever streaming platforms. You guys are willing to forgive certain things like your continuity errors, a script that may not necessarily be as fulfilling or as exciting as what you had imagined, cast that may not be as skilled or as dynamic as what you would hope for. You guys are willing to forgive that, but as soon as South Africa is making similar mistakes or not rising to a certain level of what you feel like we should aspire to, like you were very unforgiving. And I find that very strange that we always are seeking out the worst. And this tweet and this person on Twitter will say, or they'll watch a show. Guys, y'all like this thing, né? Y'all also like this thing where you watch one show, one South African show that you don't like. For whatever reasons you don't like it, justifiably so. We're allowed to approach art as we deem fit and necessary. But you watch a show and you don't like this actor, you think the script is whack, the cinematography, whatever it is, for whatever reason you don't enjoy it. And automatically becomes, this is why I don't watch South African shows. I will never watch another South African show again. Oh my gosh, South Africa, we make such weird shows, we make such whack shows. Oh my gosh, I so wish. And it's like, you guys don't do the same when over the seas, you watch something that you find underwhelming. You don't go, I'm never going to stream something from that country ever again. But suddenly, one piece of work speaks to the plethora of brilliant work that we have and we offer. And people do this thing where they say, South Africa doesn't have good shows. So when last did you make an effort to actually look? When else did you make an effort to actually go on your favorite streaming platform and search for the things that are already there? Because they're there. And there are billboards all over this country of shows that are streaming, of shows that are available, of shows that are uniquely and authentically South African. But because Batho Kakwa aren't co-signing our work, we're not worthy of being watched and appreciated. It's giving self-hate. And I find that very sad. So I would definitely change that. A newfound appreciation for what we do. And really just finding love in what we have to offer. Because if we're not going to do it, if we're not patriotic to the work we have to offer, how on earth do we expect international people to understand, appreciate, or even share our stuff when we as South Africa shun our own work? It's very sad, guys. Please do better. The hopes for my career moving forward are massive. I've mentioned in many conversations, probably on this channel as well, that I believe what I'm called to do is bigger than me. I love performance. I've always loved being an actress for as long as I can remember. From impersonations as young as being 6 years old, being a body Britney Spears and entertaining my family and reading out the lotto tickets to my family. Why? I don't understand. I would stand in front of them and I would treat the lotto ticket as a script and I'd treat it as a link. And I was a baby at the time. And my family was wacky enough to ask me to do the part that's written ka isiZulu. So you can imagine, like I grew up and I sounded like this. And then they asked me to do that. So that's just, y'all was shady. But yeah, looking at where I really see my career moving towards, I believe in the radical transformation of the industry as we know it. I feel like I'm called to be someone who makes really bold decisions for myself, but for the service and the purpose of everyone else that's coming after me. On a constitutional level, I really feel like artists deserve so much more, and it's really about platforms like this that open up the dialogue and help people understand how tough, how rough. It's rumble and tumble, it's razzle and dazzle. And it's really high time for us to have more conversations. So it's platforms like this, like the 5 Minute Call, which I think is going to be a global sensation. Partnering up with Functions XYZ, and I'm excited for what we have in store for you guys. Taking 5MC, 5 Minute Call, to the world. And that's only on a micro level of what we can realistically do in the next 3 to 6 months. Outside of that, producing, directing, reimagining the world of dance as well, wanting to film a lot around that. I'm excited about the projects that kind of live in my mind, and I can't wait for them to live in your homes. But yeah, it's really creating spaces where representation matters, representation and storytelling matters, and representing us authentically. I think we're still a little bit timid in how we approach storytelling, and sometimes 2-dimensional instead of 5 or 7. I don't know, there's many dimensions, but I know there's so much more we can do, and I know that I'm called to be part of the change, the transformation, and the growth and the evolution that is inevitable for us. It's really about taking the bold step forward and having the courage to pursue greater. Whoa, look, the 5 Minute Call started off as a faith exercise. I've said in one of my previous episodes that I just felt the pull, and I felt deeply compelled and indebted to the next generation of entertainers to do this and to create this and to start a platform where we create a lot more transparency. And I'm very grateful that it's brought us to this very moment. I am so excited for what the next installment of 5 Minute Call has in store for us, in store for me, in store for Ika and Dire, Functions XYZ. We're gonna come through with something really super exciting and more opportunities for you guys to be involved. And man, the excitement couldn't be more palpable. But again, to all of you who continue to watch, to share, those who comment, those who are actively involved, those who want to play with us. I'm so grateful. Please continue to do as you've been doing and let your people know that this is precisely where it's at. It's been nothing shy of amazing from me, Dumela Candice Modiselle, signing out from the 5-minute call. Consider yourself blessed.
Man.